You listened to him on the KVJ show for years. Every time he tried to talk sports, he'd get shut down. After years of begging, we finally gave in. Brought to you by Bremen Motor Cars in West Palm and Jupiter. A world-class experience. Visit BremenBMW.com. And by Wellington Anti-Aging. Low T? Go to WellingtonAntiAging.com. It's Kevin's Other Show on 640 The Hurricane.
Well, here we go. Got Ricky Bobby back in here with us today.
I have survived.
Yeah. What'd you have? Pink eye, flu?
I believe it was something down in the nether region.
Oh, that's
really?
a shame. Okay.
No, that's not.
Yeah.
Had a cold. Yeah, and it struck me the wrong way, and that's kind of what happened. So I take a couple days off, and it was blissful.
Oh, that's very nice. Yeah, you just chilled, watched movies, huh?
I literally watched so many movies. It was amazing. It really was. And
What was the best movie you saw?
I watched the entire Back to the Future series.
Good.
Back to back.
Good for you.
And it was really awesome. But I mean, I've seen those before. Get Out, I actually watched for the first time.
Okay. Is that worth it?
Wow, what a great movie.
Good movie?
Have you seen it?
No, I haven't seen that yet.
Dude, it's
like
awesome.
a scary movie, though, right?
Yeah, it's a scary movie, but it's like suspense, and there's a lot of like homages to other really great horror films.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, and Jordan Peele is just he's brilliant.
Yeah.
With this movie, so
Yeah.
it's very good. Highly recommended.
I'm afraid of the scary movies. I did Coco last night.
That is
with the
polar
kid.
opposite.
Yeah, completely opposite. Good,
Yeah.
though. Yeah, you know what? This is boy over here, Diener, watched it and apparently started bawling.
I really wish I could deny that, and I can't. Because you and I ended up watching. This was not planned. Okay,
Yeah.
we did not text each other last night and say, "Hey, let's watch Coco at the same time."
Yeah.
but we did. We watched
like
Coco at the
counted
same
down,
time.
hit play at the same
no,
time.
I swear it didn't work that way. And
We're FaceTiming each other.
I was
Exactly.
like, what happened in the past 3 days that I missed? You guys got super close.
Very
did,
close.
Yeah.
planning our movies out. And yeah, man, at the end of it, I turned around and looked at the wife, and she looked at me, and she's like, "No, it's okay." I was just bawling, man. I couldn't.
She was consoling.
She was consoling
She's
me.
consoling you.
Yeah,
Oh, that's lovely.
And I wish I could say it didn't happen, but man, it really got to me.
It's all right, man. It's okay to say that.
We're open
Let it all
on this
out.
show.
Is it okay though?
It's fine.
All right.
It's Disney, man. It's what they
Yes.
do. They do it well.
Toy Story 3 really got me too.
Oh, I've heard about that.
Toy
yeah,
Story 3
I haven't
was
seen
very,
that yet.
Yeah, very emotional. I didn't cry at Toy Story 3. I got choked up. Coco, I straight out cried.
Okay. Just
It all-
bawling, huh?
yeah.
Just let it go.
It was rough.
It's good to have a good cry every now and then.
It was very, very freeing.
Yeah.
It felt good.
Just
What
let
the
it
hell
all
happened to
out.
this show while I was gone? What's going on, guys? The testosterone has just flooded out of this room.
That's because I took over too much. That's what happened. Did you didn't cry? I mean, did this
I did
this
not,
get to you?
No, it was great. I was touching. I was touched.
Yeah, very touching.
I'm not going to lie.
Very good movie.
Yes, I loved it. It's fantastic. Yeah, if you got kids, you got to find that movie every now and then. You got to take one for the team. And so, I got a 9-year-old, so we did that, and then we watched the Thor movie.
Very good.
Ragnarok?
Yeah,
What a good movie.
it was good.
Hilarious.
I was digging it.
I
Yeah,
was very surprised how funny it was.
there are a lot of things that are really good about it. Yeah, so it was great. Great movie watching weekend. Other stuff that went on this weekend, you saw a little NCAA stuff going down. Tiger Woods. Oh, everybody's so into Tiger Woods again.
He's back, baby.
Yeah, well, that's what they
He's
said.
back. Mhm.
We'll touch in on that just a little bit of spring training. Man, I have so much sun. My eyes feel swollen. Like it's just, yeah, I've been out of it too much, man.
Too much vitamin D for
Too
you?
much. I'm just bursting at the seams. And then the big old Dolphins trades that have been going down. The big one hit on Friday, and man,
Calm down with the big old.
people were just going off, like really upset. And it was odd. One thing that we did a web poll, Ricky, when you were gone, talking about the Jarvis Landry, deal, and he signed the franchise tag and locked into that 16 mil. People were 90% of the people said bad move, didn't like it. Only 10% of the people were like going, that's a great move. But then you would think then with that kind of response, people would be like, oh, cool, we got rid of Jarvis Landry. But people just didn't like how it went down. They just didn't like, I guess, the deal that the Dolphins got for
what
it.
they got for him was
peanuts.
peanuts.
What is it? I think before that, anytime somebody had traded off a franchise tag player, they gotten first-round trades out of them. I think like the lowest is maybe a second round, but it only happened like 3 other times in the NFL where they tag somebody, they flip around, and then they just trade them right off.
Yeah.
And you look to see what the Dolphins get out of it, and you're like, what? Why? It seems like they just didn't get enough in return. and nobody seems like real happy about it.
When I saw the news, I literally texted Diener and I said, they better be getting the cure for cancer from this, because to be able to trade him away and only get those picks, like, there has to be something. The meaning of life must come with it.
You just can't understand it. I mean, they're just making baffling moves that you are like, what is it that the Dolphins are doing? And what is baffling is turning around and looking to see what the Browns are doing. You know, the team they sent him to, where everyone's just like, oh my gosh, what a turnaround.
Yeah. I mean, and then when they were talking about Richard Sherman, they were saying there's a possibility he may go to the Browns too. I'm like, what is happening in Cleveland right now?
I mean, honestly and arguably, I read an article about who is the next to make it to the Super Bowl. Will it be who's closer? Is it the Dolphins or is it the Browns? And the argument is pretty strong that it's not the Dolphins.
And not today. I mean, when you look at the way things are currently structured, and think about this for a second. When the Browns traded that 4th-round pick this year for Jarvis Landry as part of that horrible deal the Dolphins accepted, the Browns got that 4th-round pick when they traded one of their punters away a couple of years ago to the Cardinals, who's not even on the Cardinals anymore. So essentially, the Browns were able to get Jarvis Landry for a punter and a 7th-round pick next year.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
And people are like just saying, I mean, what kind of like Houdini moves are the Browns pulling off, and who are these guys?
It really feels like the actual movie Draft Day.
It does. And they had the 1st and 4th pick. We talked about Draft Day a couple of weeks ago.
I said, are they going to take Chadwick Boseman first overall? Who knows?
He might come out.
But you're
for the
saying
movie.
this year the Dolphins don't look like they're going to be going to the Super Bowl. Did they look like that the past couple of years?
No, well, look, here's the thing. The Dolphins and Browns...
I don't think you're making this a little bit bigger of a situation than it really needs to be.
Listen, I see what Kevin's getting at here in the article that he was talking about.
Don't push it off on Kevin. You said it.
No, okay, well, hold on a second, all right? The Browns and Dolphins were not going to the Super Bowl as they were at the end of this past season anyway. But the Dolphins were closer than the Browns at the end of the season.
I mean, you make in the offseason, you make moves that either takes your team closer or further away.
Yeah,
that's what it is. You're either trending up or you're trending down in the NFL. And the Dolphins are clearly trending down. The Browns are clearly trending up. And the question is, who makes it there faster? And arguably, seeing what they're doing, and this is just the first like 3 or 4 acquisitions that the Browns have just made, and they did it like in a 24-hour period. I mean, they got Tyrod Taylor, they got Jarvis Landry, and they did that for the price of just some like mid to late round draft picks. With nobody. I mean, you know, they're making magic out of nothing. And you're just looking to see exactly what the Dolphins are doing here and stuff. Okay, they're slashing, obviously, trying to get a little bit more cap space, which, and by the way, too, you look at the Browns, they've got a lot more cap space than the Dolphins do.
Oh, yes.
They're not even close to done dealing. They got a good offensive line. You know, they're going to have a decent quarterback that's going to be coming in, possibly to throw to a couple decent. Who knows what Josh Gordon's going to do?
Well, that's the thing. You got Josh Gordon. You have Sammy Coates is also a.
He is there.
Sammy Coates is a wide receiver. So you have those two. Then you have Jarvis Landry in the slant. I mean, like there's a serious receiving core out there all of a sudden,
and
with
now,
a proven mobile quarterback.
With the Browns having the number 1 pick, they can actually draft Saquon Barkley if they want, and then you have a quarterback, a running back, and a whole
you
wide
got the first and the 4th pick.
Yeah,
still
they can
overall.
trade both of those away and be able to get good pieces to be able to turn them into a Super Bowl team.
And they've also got 3 second-rounders. They've got 5 of the first 64 selections. Miami has 2. Miami has 2. I mean, if you're arguing like who is setting themselves up and who's going to get to the Super Bowl faster, if either of these teams are going to do it, it looks clearly like it's going to be Cleveland. And then you keep looking at what the Dolphins are doing, and you're like going, okay, well, what's going to be happening? It sounds like Ndamukong Suh is going to be the next to go. And, yeah, he's got huge salary. It just hasn't panned out like what they thought it was going to be. I mean, you know, not to say he wasn't awful, but, I mean, he's made just 1 Pro Bowl over the past 3 seasons. And he's not tallied more than, 6 sacks in a season since they picked him up. And they thought they were getting a lot more.
Well, they paid him like it was going to be a lot more.
Right. He's just not living up to it. I mean, that's either it, you know, as a player, too. You know, either your team, you're trending up, you're trending down. As a player, you're either trending up or you're trending down. You're worth the money or you're not. And the Dolphins just have a bunch of people on their roster that are not worth the money.
They're just dudes.
Yeah.
And so now what happens when the Dolphins, and we say when because they are going to cut Suh, when they cut Suh and they get nothing in return for him now after that giant contract, they paid the guy quarterback money. He's a defensive tackle.
Yeah.
They paid him quarterback money. He can now go wherever he wants. You mentioned the Browns still have all that cap room. Can you imagine now if Ndamukong Suh goes to the Browns?
And maybe they get him for a steal.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, and that's
What is
really what it
happening?
is. You want to get players. You want to get more production than you pay more money.
This is really I feel like we're living in Bizarro world.
It is, and it just happened in a weekend.
It
Happened
was
in
like 24 hours.
In 24 hours, it completely flipped everything around. And this is the thing, they're saying that it looks like the Dolphins are going to release suit today, but it looks like if they just hold on to June 1st, then the team would save $17 million against the 2018 cap. By releasing him now, they save just $3.9 million against the cap.
Makes no sense.
It makes no what are they doing? It's just baffling. What are the Dolphins doing? It just seems reckless.
It's the difference between a good organization and a bad organization. You can have good players on your team, but if you're poorly run as an organization, it doesn't make a difference. And obviously the Dolphins have been poorly run for a while because they're getting these pieces and doing nothing with them. And then finally, when it's about time to start getting rid of them, they're doing it all the wrong ways.
Yeah.
So I don't know what the hell they're thinking.
Time will tell, but I mean, the moves that the Dolphins are making right now, where are they going to rank? And what is the worst Dolphins move? They've done some brain-dead moves.
There's some doozies out there.
They've done some dumb stuff. What would you say is the worst Dolphins moves in recent history? You have passing on Drew Brees and signing Dante Culpepper instead.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Great move.
That went nowhere. Passing on Randy Moss in the draft. Moss picked 21st in 1998. Dolphins considered trading up for 29 to get him. They wound up going with running back John Avery from Ole Miss instead.
Yep,
Who
they
needs
sure
him? Who needs Randy Moss? Who needs him?
John Avery.
Worthless.
They passed on Anquan Bolden, 2003 second-round pick.
Hometown kid. Who cares?
They then drafted Ted Ginn at number 9 in the 2007 draft.
Who could forget that?
Passing
Ted
up
Ginn.
Marshawn Lynch, Darrell Revis, Greg Olson, all ahead of that to go for Ted Ginn. Then they signed Ndamukong Suh to that huge contract, $144 million in 2015. That's not worked. And Diener, you think Nick Saban?
I threw that one on there because I feel like a lot of that stems from Saban. Saban passed up on Brees and took Culpepper. He was after the Ted Ginn move. Yeah, that was Cam Cameron. Saban, I think, set this team back because he also traded Wes Welker to the Patriots. To the Patriots before he left. So that was kind of his going away present.
Okay.
Yeah, I threw that one in there.
Okay, well, if you think there's one that was left off the list, you can let us know about it. Tweet at us, 640 The Hurricane. Coming up here in a couple minutes, the odds of the Masters. We talked about this last week. Which Palm Beach County guys got the best chance in the Masters? Ricky Bobby, you put Tiger Woods dead last out of the 5 names we brought up. Has that changed?
Nope.
And what are the Masters odds now? We'll tell you coming up next.
Be part of the show on Twitter at 640 The Hurricane, hashtag Kevin's Other Show.
It's kind of fitting, right?
Yeah, I had to.
Yeah, baby. Gosh, what just a sad, awful day it's got to be a Dolphins fan. Just looking at this, and when is the optimism ever going to run through your veins again?
Never. Oh, here it comes. Yep. That's right, Hootie. That's right, Darius Rucker. It's just so sad.
Yeah.
Like you said, it's just one year after another. And now normally we're sad at the end of the season. Now we're sad during the offseason because they're just doing these mystifying things. If you want to trade Jarvis Landry, fine. I get it. He's not producing the way you want him to. You feel you get somebody else in the draft, but at least get something for him. They got nothing. You want to cut Sue? Okay, fine. Now you're letting him go for nothing. Try to restructure. Try to get something for him.
Can you guys just think like Jets fans for just a tiny bit? Expect nothing. And then when something happens to happen, you're really excited because there's no reason to expect anything. Just don't. Don't care.
Yeah.
Okay. Fair enough.
Looks like Juwan James is also gone too, so.
Who cares? Who cares, right?
Who cares?
Who cares?
Who cares?
I didn't even know Miami had a football team.
Yeah.
Just expect nothing is what you're saying.
Yeah,
Okay.
welcome to being a Jets fan.
What is this about Miami? If you are a Miami franchise, you got to just slash and burn like everybody you know. I
The
mean,
ghost of Jeffrey Loria looms over Hard Rock Stadium.
gosh, yeah.
Woo!
And you got the Marlins, you got the Dolphins.
Yep.
Like,
I wonder what David Beckham's going to do with this soccer team. They're going to win a championship. He's going to sell all of them to Guatemala. Every single one of them. Not to play soccer, just over there to Guatemala.
Stop. Don't curse it.
Well, checking out the Marlins over the weekend, they had the Yankees yesterday. Went to Roger Dean Stadium. Man, was it packed! It was a sellout without a doubt. And according to the article I was reading, 7,648 in attendance.
Really?
Yeah, it was full. I mean, it was packed.
That's more than a normal Marlins game.
Yeah, I mean,
at Miami Stadium.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, like you couldn't find a place, and it was so like just awful because I go in on we got the media pass, so it's like I go in on that, and then what you got to do is try to find it because standing room was gone, couldn't stand. There's nowhere to stand, so you're bouncing around trying to find open seats, and then you think you're good, and then excuse me, you're on my seat. Like, having to do that the entire game.
For these seats.
Yeah, I didn't know what to expect. I didn't think Stanton was going to be there, and yeah, he did not make the trip. And possibly the reason why is just because he didn't want to deal with the, all the attention. I mean, not now, because I think the Yankees are playing at Marlins Park, right, this year?
Yes.
I think I saw. Okay.
Yeah.
So he probably, I don't know if he's looking this far ahead and he's thinking this much through, but
It'd be a PR move, honestly.
yeah, they might say, look, you're going to get so much. It's going to all come up then. There's going to be no way around it, but don't do it twice. Do it to yourself once because there would have been so much talk in the interviews and, that's all they would have wanted to know. Coming back to take on the Marlins, even though it's a meaningless game.
I just love Aaron Boone's answer on this when they asked him, how come Stanton didn't show up? Was it this? Was it that? And he said, oh, it was just one of his days off. So you're telling me, Aaron Boone, that it just happens to be his day off fell on the day you guys coming down to play the Marlins?
No, they thought about it. He didn't want to take the bus trip.
Super PR move. What I think would be really great is when they do come down here, if Giancarlo hits a home run, accidentally sets off the fish. That would be like the greatest thing ever.
That would be pretty good,
It
actually.
would be amazing. Talk about a PR move. Like that would make the Marlins go viral in an instant.
Yeah.
Bring up the sculpture when Stanton hits a home run in Miami Stadium.
Yeah, whoever runs that. Let's get some money together. Let's pay this person.
The one thing that I couldn't take my eye off yesterday was just watching Castro, out there that was playing, obviously with the Yankees last year.
Where are my friends at?
Yeah. Oh, he was so buddy. Starlin Castro with man. When he came up to bat, it was almost like he was so buddy with Sanchez. It's almost like, dude, we got a game we got to play. Like, can you guys do this? After?
Yeah, exactly.
Like it was just like, oh man, like you guys got to be so great. Like just looking at him. Being with the Yankees last year and what they were, and he does not want to be in Miami. He's been pretty vocal about that, and he looks good, though. He blasted one over the weekend. He had a solid shot yesterday. So, I mean, if the Marlins have anything to look at, Castro was looking promising. But, yeah, he would much rather be a Yankee, and it was obvious.
You said there was, around 7,000 people there yesterday,
7,648 is what they're saying, yeah.
So, out of all those people, was Starlin Castro the saddest man in Roger Dean Stadium yesterday?
Well, there was those 48 Marlins fans. So.
Honestly, it said it was about 50-50, and it wasn't even close. There's no way. When I was reading this, it was not even close. I mean, I looked around. It was depressing. I could not find a Marlins fan. I was wearing Marlins. I was about it. I saw maybe, I'm not even kidding you, it felt like 10 Marlins fans. Maybe.
Wow.
Were they coming out with 50-50?
I have no idea. Not even close. There's no way. It was Yankee blue all through that stadium.
Yeah, that's another PR move by Roger Dean Stadium right there. They're like, yes, it's 50-50.
There's no way. There's absolutely no way. Judge did hit a blast apparently to left center. So when I left, he was 0 for 2, but apparently got up there and smacked one pretty good. So if you got to hang anything on it, but. Yeah, I just don't know. There's not a lot of good things to look at for the Marlins on that. But
hey, they're 10-5 in the spring training so far. 10-5 record.
Woo woo.
All right.
He's bringing up the optimism of it.
Just saying.
Yeah, I love it.
They won. They won 7-5.
Expect to not expect anything.
Oh man.
Since you're so positive, let's hear what you got to say about Tiger Woods because everybody they're like, okay, he's definitely back. And to me, he's not back until he wins a major. Then you're back. I mean, he's still. Is toting around one of the longest droughts in the PGA. So I mean, you're not back when you're still wearing that like an albatross. And he is. It's right around his neck. Yeah, he got close. I mean, it was right there. He really had a chance even on the 18th to try to make something happen to force a playoff.
Horseshoes and hand grenades.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't count.
No.
It doesn't count. 1,659 days have passed between Woods' last 2 top 5 finishes at a PGA Tour event. It's been a while.
What say you, Diener?
You know what this reminds me of? It reminds me of this past season with the Miami Hurricanes, where everyone's like, oh, the Canes are back, the Canes are back.
Yeah.
Even though they're not winning a national championship, they were close. They were getting back to what we're used to seeing them at. And I think it's kind of the same feeling with Tiger. Everyone just gets so excited that he's in the running again. You feel like, oh, the Tiger's back. All right, the excitement's back in golf.
But I got to tell you, honestly, and I've even talked to some Canes fans, the Canes are still far from back, too. They are.
That's called delusion.
Well, that's what it is, though. It's that same
I think it's
feel.
a good comparison because I think, but there is a huge jump between where Tiger is and even where the Canes are to coming back as that dominant player, that dominant Canes team that you saw, from the 90s or even the early 2000s. There's a large jump.
When you get a glimpse of it,
yeah,
all of a sudden it's like, there's a shining light.
Yeah, you sniffed it for a couple quarters.
Yeah.
They looked like that team. You thought it was. But when you break it down, they're still a long way away from the kind of feel you get when you watch Alabama and you see Clemson, when they're humming, and even Georgia. So they're a ways away. The Masters odds, though, we're talking about Palm Beach County golfers. Who's got the best chance? And right now the Masters odds have got Dustin Johnson and Justin Thomas tops for Palm Beach County, 8-1 odds on winning the Masters. Tiger Woods, 10-1 odds, not bad.
It's not bad at all. He's in the top 5 as far as favorites to win, right?
He's in the mix. You look at McIlroy's at 16-1 and Ricky Fowler's at 20-1.
I mean, how much of those odds do you actually believe, though? Do you think golf wants that to be the odds so that they can be able to get the eyeballs?
Everybody's very hyped about the Masters now because they believe, okay, Tiger can compete. He's not back, but he showed that he can compete seriously. You have to watch him. You have to see, okay, what's Tiger doing, and you have to see what's happening. You're not afraid of Tiger. That red shirt strikes zero fear in your heart right now.
Red shirts on Sundays.
Yes, but you're aware of what Tiger Woods is doing.
Yeah, he's playing golf.
If he makes a move at the Masters, it's going to be pretty amazing to see what he does if he wins the Masters.
Yeah, just dude, who cares?
Now, how fun would it be? Who cares? How fun would it be to have Dustin Johnson and Tiger maybe just a couple of shots apart when you talk about, local? They're both local, right? I mean, Tiger's not from here. At least Johnson's from here.
Yeah.
But how fun would that be to have Tiger maybe a couple shots behind on Sunday at the Masters?
I mean, it's totally plausible that, you could see a leaderboard with, I would say, 4 out of the top 10 probably from Palm Beach County.
It's possible.
Probably.
In it, the way that
with Fowler.
These guys are all playing now. Yeah, I mean, really the hottest names in golf right now are coming right out of this area, at least living here. So, yeah, it could shape up for an exciting Masters.
But Ricky says it doesn't matter, and he doesn't care, and Tiger's not going to do anything.
He's not.
Why do you have to bash Tiger?
Because he's not going to do it, okay? Because this is the situation is that this guy has been reeling into this position for how long now? But trying to get back. He's finally starting to play a little bit better.
I mean, maybe he's finally healthy. I mean, that could be the argument. The one thing, I was talking to somebody the other day that had just recently done a back surgery or is going to go in for a back surgery, and they were talking about how he was going to be back to work that day. And it just...
What does he do for a living?
He works in automotive, so he's not going to be able to do it because he has to move too much. But they said that if you had a desk job, you could come in for your lunch break. They would do this back surgery, and you go home right afterwards, or just go right back to work. I mean, to me, I think it shows the technology of back surgeries and how they are. And maybe finally Tiger got some actual relief. Physically, now he's maybe a lot better than what he was.
How many times did we say, "Oh, here he's back, RG3"?
But this is a little bit different,
How?
RG3. Because he was actually able to finish second in this past championship, and he played consistently.
He did.
Plus, he played consistent golf at the Honda.
Right.
So, not that he finished second at the Honda, but he still showed signs that he could have a nice actual tournament. And it's 2 in a row now.
Oh, it's going to be such a big story. That gallery's going to be huge. Everybody's going to be hyping up Tiger, and Ricky's going to love it.
Who cares?
This guy.
Well, everybody's going to try to figure out how to fill out their brackets today. Have you ever seen the stats and the numbers on how much money American businesses lose when they announce the March Madness brackets and they come out? Because nobody's working today. So, odds on favorites. If you're one of those people that you maybe watched one half of college basketball and you're trying to act like you're some kind of know-it-all around your office today about who's going to win this whole tournament, who's got the best odds? Who's the best chance? What's the big sleeper in the tournament? We'll discuss coming up next.
Can't wait to break down last night's game? Yeah, not. It's Kevin's Other Show on 640 The Hurricane.
Did Do you guys do one bracket or multiple brackets when it comes to the NCAA?
I go back and forth. Last year I did 2, and I feel like that was probably one too many. So I might just stick with 1 this year.
Okay.
I don't do more than 2 though. Like 2 is my limit.
You put money on it?
Yes.
You do. How much what's your limit?
It's a $20 buy-in with the tournament that I do every year with a bunch of people.
Very safe. Very
Yes.
safe, Diener.
Yes, no, I will not go over $20. So when I do 2 brackets, that's $40.
Whoa.
Yeah,
Whoa.
that's a big deal.
Whoa.
That's a big deal in my household.
Alert the wife.
Yeah.
Which I'm considering maybe doing 2 this year. I'm going to see how I feel about the first one.
You are a wild man,
I know.
Diener.
Ricky Bobby, what are you doing? Do you do any?
I will never in a million years bet on anything sports.
Really?
I do
Yeah.
a bracket just for fun, but I'm
Yeah.
not going to throw down my hard-earned
It's too much anxiety.
$20 for it. Yeah, and then it's like all of a sudden I'm in the running and I got to like really be paying attention. No, it's horrible. I do fantasy football. It's the only thing I do, and that's once a year. But the bracket thing, I'll fill it out for fun.
Yeah.
But I won't put money
It's
on
too much stress. It's unbelievable.
it. So
Like,
stressful.
some of
I did
these-
it 1 year, and after that, I was
Yeah.
like, nah, can't do this again.
My brother-in-law, he gets into it, and he had this thing where you, the way they do it, it's not about brackets, but it's about you have a draft. You get to basically buy a team for a certain amount of money. Obviously, your higher seeds cost a little bit more money, so the best is if you got, say, for instance, a number 5 seed,
Yeah.
or like let's even say a 12 seed that made a run, into the Elite 8. Then you're going to make a whole bunch of cash back. That's kind of how it is.
Makes sense.
But a lot of these teams, and especially the ones in the pool that he was in, some of the better teams, you're talking around 10 to 15 grand.
Whoa.
He would lay down. And it was so much money that my mother-in-law would get a call from some guy with, one of them accents saying, yeah, hey, just want to let you know that your son is in for about like 20 lodge.
Oh man!
If there's any problems,
That is a
you
very
better come to his
interesting
rescue.
accent you got there.
Wow.
If you love him.
You don't want to hear that accent on the other line of the phone.
Yeah, she would get that call. And she's like, okay. And
You
it was-
love him.
And it was so nerve-wracking around NCAA, March Madness time, because he'd be like, all right, okay. I mean, you can't
Mercy.
even, you're sweating for your life watching these games. I'm like, why would you do that? He's like, well, 1 year I won enough money, I put in a swimming pool. And I'm like, yeah, but what about the years that you lose?
Yeah.
You
There's
lose
that.
both your legs. You can't even swim. You're just bobbing around in this pool now. That's all it is. We throw you in. You just sit there and float. Who wants that kind of anxiety?
Nobody.
I can't. Like when I put 20, God forbid I actually do 2 brackets and get up to $40.
Your
I-
whole $40, huh?
No.
heart
I know, look at this guy.
palpitations. I don't know how you do 10, 15 grand.
I don't know either. I don't know. And honestly, how his mom would bankroll that, I have no clue. But she did it.
Wow. I just want to know what other impressions you do.
Oh, I got a few. In time.
You gotta let
That was
them happen naturally.
The best
That's
New
it.
Yorker impression I've ever heard in my entire life. I think one of the things that's really tough with the bracket is that if you look at this bracket, 64 friggin' teams, like, do you really gonna know where all these people are gonna go? I mean, like, it's so hard to
No,
pick
you don't.
all these, and it's just like
the pros don't know, and I mean honestly, even for nobody really is a college basketball fan until this time of year. And who do you know that is below one of the top 5 seeds, or legitimately how they did? And you have some of those teams that year to year, they could be up, they could be down. A Gonzaga, you're like, I don't know, are they a 2 seed this year or are they a 5 seed this year?
Well, I've seen girls that have won bracket challenges by just picking
Right.
they like the color of the jerseys.
Absolutely, yeah.
And they've won.
Because it's a crapshoot. You do not even know. I mean, you can look at teams and you can say, okay, this is one that I like. I feel like they're trending up, and I feel like this team is trending down.
Yeah.
If you had to look at somebody that you like, man, I was watching Kentucky in the SEC championship over the weekend, and you're like, okay, this is a young team, as they always are, that figures out how to play basketball by the end of
when
the
are
year.
they not a young team?
10 losses they got on the year. They're a 5 seed, but yet they are in the top 15 on odds on winning it all, according to betonline.com. Like, if I had to say, okay, there's a team I'm going to ride a little bit further, I'm liking what Kentucky's doing right now. Ride them as a 5 seed.
Hot at the right time. It's all that matters.
Absolutely.
Get into the dance and then dance with the best of them.
You got the horses that could do it.
Yeah.
It's just figuring out how to play team basketball.
Why not?
They're finally making it happen. Villanova, that is the top pick. Basically, a $100 bet would pay off $400 in winnings.
Yeah, so they're the
Get
overall
the least
favorite.
amount.
Yeah.
Pretty much the top 10, top 15 is littered with, 1, 2 seeds, 3 seeds. The ones that probably jump out is the fourth best odds. They got Michigan State. They're loving Michigan State and Michigan. Michigan that finished strong in the Big Ten tournament. They wound up winning it. So there's a lot of love for those two teams. Arizona, good bit of love. Kentucky is getting a lot of love that I've mentioned. Gonzaga to 4 seed, and they like West Virginia and Wichita State.
Wichita State and Gonzaga, the Shockers. I love the Shockers.
Yeah, Shockers.
They're really. I would imagine that's what the mascot sounds like when he talks.
Well, Ricky
Shockers.
Bobby was asking me on that, and we're like, okay. I mean,
Pretty interesting question.
yeah. I mean, anybody who knows anything, I mean, come on, you've heard of the Shocker. You see the little hand gesture that they're always making at the games.
Yes.
The cheerleaders make the gesture.
They do,
Do they really?
which is
do.
really interesting.
Yeah, how do
very
they?
odd.
You're right. How are they getting away with it? And what is really a shocker? I mean, you look at their mascot,
So
and
when
it.
you asked me earlier, I was like, I don't know what part I'm supposed to answer. The actual hand gesture or
well,
like
that's
what
just, obviously your mascot is not really
it's like a-
the sex move.
That's
The
what
Shocker.
That's what it looks like.
No, right? No, that's not what.
No, that's
not
what it is.
No, we're not doing that.
Well, I'm just showing it.
KVJ,
People don't know what it
yeah,
is.
Yeah, he's showing it on on YouTube right there. If you're
It's a
watching the
family
show, yeah,
Who said that?
yeah.
Nobody.
So
Nobody.
that's yeah. So they're throwing up that sign.
How did they not get away with this whole Me Too movement and everything like that? Like, why is they not protested? Wichita State.
Right. And how many like unsuspecting people are throwing up that sign having no idea what they're doing?
Good
That
point.
is my favorite. I think
Yes.
there's actually a YouTube video of like parents throwing it up,
Yes.
like Wichita State.
You-
That don't know what it is. They're just throwing it up because seeing everybody else do it. Like that's the most amazing thing that could have ever happened.
Yeah, how is this still really going on? You're right. In this climate, how is this still going
Yes.
on?
No, I love it. You know why they get away with it? Because the mascot, when you look at the mask, he's like this bee-looking guy.
Is that
and
what
he
he
has this
did?
crazy hair.
He's got like spiked, like like blonde yellow hair. He looks kind of like Nick Carter from the Backstreet Boys.
Kind of does.
Which I think is much more offensive.
Throwing up the Shocker.
Nick Carter.
Throwing up the Shocker.
I mean, what is
Grimy on
what-
all
yeah,
levels.
What really is this Shocker? I don't even know. But yeah.
That's who they are. I just love the thought though of like a 55-year-old dad, balding,
Yeah,
like
they do.
no hair up there, and
Yeah.
he's just up there doing the symbol. Yeah, Shockers.
Yeah,
All
dude.
right, let's go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, with the mom too, and the Crocs
Mom.
and everything like that.
Yes.
It's got to be hilarious.
They just think it's the team symbol.
Who do you guys like Florida teams? Which team's going to make it the first? The Canes are a 6 seed going up this Thursday against Loyola Chicago, an 11 seed in Dallas. So who you feeling? Canes, Gators, Noles, 3 teams from Florida in the 64. Which team makes it the furthest?
I'm going to say, a big shocker here, Shockers, Miami Hurricanes make it the furthest by going to the second round, and that's it. I say
Yeah.
Florida State and Florida are both out in the first round.
Really?
Well,
Yes.
I'm looking at this bracket. I'm like, yeah, I don't see them really getting away from these teams.
You don't
right
see
here.
any Florida team. No Florida team makes Sweet 16.
No, I don't think so.
See,
Really?
because Florida actually plays the winner of the play-in game with UCLA, which I mean, just my personal pick. I think UCLA is going to win that game, and they could beat Florida. Florida
You're not
really
going-
wasn't that
You're
good.
not going with St. Bonaventure?
No, I'm not going with St. Bonaventure. You want to go ahead and handicap St. Bonaventure for me?
Frickin' no.
Yeah, exactly.
Where the hell is St. Bonaventure?
Exactly. Go ahead and handicap St. Bonaventure for me.
Yeah.
And then Florida State, I mean, I don't even know how they made it in to begin with. How does Florida State make they're going against Missouri as a 9 seed. Missouri's the 8 seed.
Yeah.
And Florida State lost in the first round of the ACC tournament, got destroyed by, I believe, NC State. I was totally blown away when I
That they
saw them
even
get
made
in.
it.
Yes.
So Canes at a 6 seed is going to go the furthest, but still not even Sweet 16 for them.
And even that matchup is going to be hard. I mean, from what I've heard, Chicago is actually a pretty good shooting team.
Well, I mean, you look where they are. They're in the South region. They got Virginia, Cincinnati, Arizona, Kentucky, who, that's the team I like to, probably make a little bit of noise at a 5 seed. So
Good luck.
good luck. So fill out your brackets appropriately.
Welcome to the most introspective sports show you'll ever hear. Oh, wait. Kevin's doing it? Never mind. It's Kevin's Other Show on 640 The Hurricane.
Got you feel good.
Yes, sir. Threw that in there.
Welcome to Kevin's Other Show. It's Metal Monday here on 640 The Hurricane. Get all your metal out now.
What cracks me up is just to see the state of what is going on with Motley Crue now. They're making the movie The Dirt, which is based on the book of all the debauchery that the band was into back in the 80s. And I just saw somebody on the set got electrocuted.
Oh, geez.
Like, it's just, it's mask, yeah.
Are they doing like a live action movie of it, or are they doing like a documentary?
I think it's going to kind of like have a documentary feel. It's basically like going back and who knows who's playing what in the band, but I think that's kind of what it's going to be is, kind of going back, doing a movie about what it was all like.
Like an Almost Famous type of thing?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know all the stories. I got the book. It's just been sitting there. I'm like going, how many hairband guys want to sit and read? So
this is true. How many can still have the consciousness to read, too?
Right.
As well.
But, I mean, I do know the story about Nikki Sixx. You've heard that, right? Where he went out, he OD'd. They came and they had to give him whatever it was that brings you back from a heroin overdose. He, saw his body floating up above him. They take him to the hospital. They're going, okay, all right, we saved you. He's like, cool, thanks. He goes home and loads up again and gives himself an even bigger dose of heroin.
Nice.
Yeah.
He died twice, didn't he? Hasn't
Several
he died twice?
times, yeah.
He's amazing.
And he's actually the guy from the band that's doing good.
Yes, he's cleaned up. He has his own show. And
Yeah.
Well, he's Nicky 4 now because that's 6 of his lives.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's true.
Yeah.
Just keep knocking him down.
Dude has died like a handful of times.
Yeah,
It's amazing.
Yeah, so he's a mess. Mick Mars, who is the guitar player, is just his health is awful. He has fake hips and everything else. Vince Neil is maybe one of the most unhealthy people on the planet.
he looks
Just doesn't
like
doesn't it's just alarming. Yeah,
like what's that place you can stuff your own bears?
Oh,
the
like
mall?
Build-A-Bear.
Build-A-Bear. He looks
Yes.
like a Build-A-Bear reject.
Oh, yeah, with no stuffing.
it's like the stitches are stretchy. Yeah,
His face is all puffy
Yeah.
and it's all stretched out and everything like that.
Yeah,
The motorcycle rides him now.
he's had it rough. And then Tommy Lee is now pressing charges against his 21-year-old kid. His 21-year-old kid punched him so hard he knocked him out cold the other night.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, Tommy Lee apparently was hammered when he did it. So, yeah, it's still going on. You got to wonder, when are they going to end the movie The Dirt, or they keep it going? Because it sounds like the debauchery continues.
It sounds like amazing, honestly. Like, how can they end it? This is going to be a trilogy.
Yeah,
It's going to be like Fast and the Furious. They're
Yes.
going to make 12 of them.
Just keep going.
top mess.
feel
but
they're all
still doing
dead.
it. Yeah. Did anybody watch the OJ special that happened on Fox at all? People that are watching this stuff are just like, you can't even believe that this guy, how did he not get convicted again?
Dude, it's so cocky.
It's so unbelievable. You can't even, just fathom, what was he doing? What was he thinking? I mean, with doing this, it really is just a confession. And Dina, you're talking about at one part, even in this thing, O.J. Simpson just kind of drifts off into the first person, and he's just talking okay, here's what I did. It's like he almost forgets that he's supposed to be just going through, if I would have done it. He forgot, and he forgot the if isn't even in it. It's like, here's how I mean.
Yes. No, you could see, and I mean, to be honest, I really only saw a few minutes of the show, and this was the clip that I saw. But you can actually watch him go in, hypothetically, but he actually starts to recount, if I were to tell you a story of what happened to me, how I cried during Coco, this is what he did. I mean, he was telling a first-person account of what happened that night. He was going off memory.
Yeah, it's really just unbelievable, and it's so fascinating. Is you're just listening to this, be like, I can't believe OJ is just kind of going off the way he is, and I mean, it's just crazy. And he throws out this hypothetical Charlie. This is kind of one of the spots. This is what he was saying about the show. But just listen to how he describes what was happening that night. This is how he does it.
And Charlie is hysterical, screaming, Jesus Christ, OJ, Jesus Christ. And you tell him to shut up.
Yeah, he's in a panic. He was in a panic. And I'm telling him to shut up. Let's get out of here.
So you get back in the car, you take in your clothes, put them in the bundle.
And drove back and parked a block away because I knew the limo would be there, and came across the backyard through the 2 tennis courts and came to the house.
So you went through the neighbors.
Neighbors, yeah. He had a tennis court, then I had a tennis court.
So it's you went through, I mean, just even listening to the questions and how this, yes, this is how I did it. It's like somewhere in there in discussing this quote unquote hypothetical, he's just telling you exactly what he did, the specifics of it. How it all happened.
He's telling you the whole story. I mean, he even went in at one point and talked about how when he saw Ron Goldman there, and he went into a karate stance, and he's telling the story. He's like, yeah, I saw Goldman go into a karate stance, and he was like, oh, you think you can beat me up? He's telling the story.
If you didn't do this, why do you do this?
Well,
Yes.
Not only that, but why do you give out details that nobody else knows to make you look so much more guilty than you already look?
He got
like,
so...
nobody would know that he went into a karate stance. What was the point of that
Right.
detail?
He gave an actual detail.
Yeah.
Of how it went down.
And everything he's given, I can't wait, is like people start to go and like they start, yeah, okay, Ron Goldman, that would have been something he would have done. The guy was into martial arts. That's exactly what he would. How else would he have known that? He didn't know who this guy was. This was a stranger. This is a guy that worked at a restaurant. There was like a waiter.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
It really
Cocky
is.
Individual.
It is. Judith Regan is a publisher that talked about when OJ's lawyer contacted her about doing this, If I Did It, and how they sold it to her.
I received a phone call from an attorney who said that OJ was ready to confess. And actually, I thought it was some kind of a scam and didn't believe him. And I thought this guy's a lunatic. But I took his number and said I'd call him back. And
Nice.
the next day I called him back and he said he was willing to do it. And the only condition that he had was that he didn't want to call the book I Did It. He wanted to put an if in front of it so that he would have deniability with his children. That was his only condition.
Holy
Because
crap.
that's so throwing us. The word "if" is really throwing us off the scent, OJ.
It's incredible.
Idiot.
I mean, do you think his kids think he actually didn't do it?
You know
kind
what?
of baffling.
Well, he's got kids that he had before
Yes.
Nicole Brown, and then he's got the kids with Nicole Brown. I think the kids with Nicole Brown, like, I think they're estranged. Like, they're like, yeah, you killed our mom, and so they have nothing to do with him. And I think that his kids he had before still actually kind of defend him a little bit. But it's just amazing how the mentality and the mindset of O.J. Simpson and how he just even spins it. And even in this clip, listen to this, how O.J. makes himself the victim in all this.
You know, it's almost like you were, Ron and Nicole were physically dead, and it's almost like they killed me. Who I was attacked and murdered also in that short period of time. And once again, I to this day, it bugs me that it seems that people wanted me to be guilty. That really bothers me.
Oh, boy, he's bothered.
I wonder why.
He's a psycho. What a psycho he is.
Oh, he's got a twisted mind.
Yeah.
See, I don't understand this, though. But why wouldn't the Goldmans want this to be released in 2006 when it was taped? Because it obviously is. It sounds pretty damning.
I think it was about who was making money. I think they did little flips, and he took it and said he got it and took like the if off of it, and how I did. Yeah, that's kind of how it all went down. There was a court play that happened, and he said, look, he's not going to make this a hypothetical. He's going to make this an actual confession to what he did to my son, and that's how it all went down.
Insane.
It
Wow.
is insane. That's O.J. Simpson. Well, if you want to check out the show, you can do more than just listen on 640 AM The Hurricane. You can check it out on podcast, also up on YouTube, on demand, anytime. Just do the search, Kevin's Other Show.
You listened to him on the KVJ show for years. Every time he tried to talk sports, he'd get shut down. After years of begging, we finally gave in. Brought to you by Wellington Anti-Aging. Low T? Go to WellingtonAntiAging.com. And by Bremen Motor Cars in West Palm Beach. A world-class experience. Shop BremenPorsche.com now. It's Kevin's Other Show on 640 The Hurricane.